Welcome back to Daily Talks. Today we want to talk about faith. Faith. Faith is a trust in God, and in a Christian worldview, it is submitting and surrendering to the full sovereignty of God, to His plans, to His ways. We want to learn about faith through three important people found in the Bible: Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Who was Abraham's God? Well, in Genesis, we find that God credits Abraham with righteousness because he believed in God. He trusted God. He put his faith in God. And that's why righteousness was credited to him. Now, Abraham, he wasn't the most honest person, and yet it was by God's sheer grace in that he was able to believe and trust God, and righteousness was credited to him. Perhaps Abraham suffered from an inferiority complex, insecure image of himself, and we find that many times as he lies about the identity of his wife, Sarah. Not once, but many times, saying, "Oh, this is just my sister." What faith does, though, to Abraham is that it helps him overcome all of the inferiorities or insecurities or the deficiencies that he may have had. Those deficiencies were able to be filled by God Himself in putting his full trust in God. Perhaps for us, we need to fill our deficiencies with God by faith as well, just as Abraham experienced. Number two, we want to learn about the faith Isaac had. Isaac's God, the God who keeps his covenant with his father, with himself. Isaac, the son of promise. Isaac, who brought laughter to the family. Isaac, who was able to carry on the family name. God keeps his promises. And that's why we call our God a faithful God. And he requires his people also to be faithful in him. Isaac was able to keep that covenant. He was able to cherish that covenant and then make it flow down to the third generation, who is Jacob. Jacob. God does not relent on his promises. God does not change his covenant. He wants to bless the generations from Abraham to Isaac to Jacob. God continues to bestow his blessings upon Jacob. Jacob was able to live a long time in being able to fulfill the promises that God had for him to do. Now we find out through his 12 sons, we find that there's going to be 12 tribes of Israel, his name that God gave him. Jacob, his new name is Israel. And God continues to provide his covenant and unfold his promises to his people, all by the faith that Abraham had, Isaac had, and Jacob had, all putting their faith in God alone, putting their full trust in him. I don't know about you, but for me, in my journey of faith, sometimes there seems to be nothing that's happening that I plan to do. And yet, I trust in the faithful plans of our God, and I choose to trust him in times of trial, in times of difficulty, in times of joy, in times of sorrow, in times of grief, in times of disappointment. And the blessing that God will bestow upon the faithful people is that he will bless the generations, my children, and if Lord willing, my grandchildren, Lord willing, my great-grandchildren, should the Lord tarry. So friends, let's remember faith. Faith is not by sight. It is being certain of what we hope for in Jesus Christ. Thanks, everyone.